In past forecasts, you may recall Al talking about wildfires that burned in the western half of the country this year. While the majority are under control, Nebraska agriculture could see the impacts next growing season. Market Journal's Maddie McIntosh spoke with Extension educator Gary Stone to learn more.
As of November 2nd, the National Interagency Fire Center reported over 47,000 wildfires, which have burned nearly 8.6 million acres in 2020. While the majority of the fires were located on the Pacific coast, 2 nearby blazes may cause problems for agriculture in the heartland.
The 2 major fires that could affect Nebraska were the Cameron Peak Fire, located west of Fort Collins. It started about August 13th of this year. It encompassed about 326 acres, and at this point in time, it's about 92% contained. The other fire was the Wildfire. It was located west of Laramie, Wyoming. It started September 17th. It encompassed about 276 square miles, and at this point in time, it's about 97% under control.
Smoke drifting into neighboring states was one of the effects producers and communities immediately faced.
Well, as far as the smoke and the haze that it generated, looking at some of the smoke maps that you can bring up on the internet, it affected pretty much all of the state at some point in time. I know here in the Panhandle, specifically around Scottsbluff, Southern Panhandle, there were a few days that you couldn't see maybe 3 or 4 miles. The air quality was very poor. After a few days of that, your throat started to get a little raw and rough, and it was just best to stay inside.
But Gary says smoke might not be the biggest concern. What he worries about most is the effects we have yet to see.
It's going to be what happens in the future, and that is mainly about our water quantity that we'll get next spring. That will all determined by the amount of snowpack that we get in these 2 areas. Both of these areas are part of the watershed for the North Platte River and the South Platte River. The Mullen Fire probably took in roughly 40% of the Snowy Range, which is on the east side of the North Platte River drainage at the headwaters. So how much snowfall we get, how fast it will melt and come off and fill the reservoirs will be a factor that we need to look at for next spring.
Lastly, Gary says the fires do have a main cause, and we will most likely see more of them in the future.
A lot of these fires are due to beetle kill. I wouldn't say it's necessarily due to global warming, but the beetle kill from a number of years ago really decimated a lot of the pine trees in these areas across the Rocky Mountains. And I guess it was just a question of time before we had fires like this that would go in and clear out those dead trees, or at least start to clear them out. There's still a lot of dead beetle kill timber up in those areas, so we can probably look forward to seeing some more fires like this in the future.
Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Maddie McIntosh.